Hi, Bill Manchell, the General Manager of Fox 45 and Baltimore CW. Thank you, Jimmy, for inviting us. Fox 45 is a proud sponsor of the CollegeBound Scholar of the Week series. As you can see from the video, it's always challenging to select one student from those nominated for this award. This year's recipient distinguished himself through his academics, commitment to community service. Dawan Johnson is a graduate of Baltimore Poly Institute, 5th out of a class of 455, and has accumulated 936 service learning hours. A talented musician, Dawan plays several instruments. As part of the team of the Ingenuity Research Project at Hopkins, his supervisors were impressed by his diligence. Dawan will be attending UMBC in the fall and hopes to major in biochemistry and molecular biology. It is now my privilege to introduce Dawan Johnson, the 2013 CollegeBound Foundation Scholar of the Year. Congratulations, great job.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'd like to formally introduce myself to you all. My name is Daquan Johnson. I'm a recent graduate of Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, and I'm currently enrolled in the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. I'm a Meyerhoff Scholar with an intended major in biochemistry and a minor in Spanish. I'm also proud to announce that I'm this year's CollegeBound Scholar of the Year. So getting to this point in my life has been a hard and seemingly very long road. Helen Keller once said, "Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience and the trial of suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved." Over the course of my life thus far, I've overcome great hurdles through the grace of God, the support of my family, and the compassion of others. On February 26, 1995, a cold Sunday morning, after being tormented by the thought that she would either have a miscarriage or have to abort her child, Teresa Lee gave birth to me, Daquan Johnson. Well, I was born 8 weeks premature, oxygen deprived, and deaf, and the odds appeared to be heavily stacked against me. At about the age of 2, I was fearing that I had consumed a large amount of lead. I was taken to the Kennedy Krieger Institute at Johns Hopkins to be treated with other ill-fated children. And it was at Johns Hopkins where I was diagnosed as mentally retarded. And when things seemed like they couldn't get worse, my mother received the news that I was diagnosed with a congenital optical movement disorder called Doyne syndrome. The amount of stress that the disease had put on my eyes could have caused me to lose my sight. But through my ailments, God was able to manifest His miracles in me. So today I have 20/20 vision, and I stand before you all with full range of hearing. And not only do I have my hearing, I play the piano, the organ, the electric and acoustic guitar, as well as the violin. And during my tenure at Baltimore Polytechnic Institute, I was an honor student for all 4 years, ranking the top 5% of my class. But through my obstacles in life, I learned that no one can battle life alone. My mother, my grandmother, and my aunts has always been the support group that I can remember. My mom ensured that no matter what my physical limitations may have appeared to be, I will always achieve my true potential. My grandmother provided me with the faith that all things are possible through Christ, which strengthens me. And my aunts provided financial support when my mom had hit hard times. And to this day, I can gladly say I don't know what it's like to go without food, clothes, water, or electricity. But through my family, which was guided by God, I developed my demeanor. Every part of my support group had taken root in me. My intelligence from my mom, my faith and my consonance from my grandmother, and the compassion that I learned from my aunts. Despite all the support and the great foundation given to me from my family, there's still one thing that just couldn't do. They couldn't afford my college education. So determined to go to college and achieve my dream of becoming a doctor, I had no choice but to depend on the compassion of others. So during my senior year, I began searching for scholarship opportunities like many others. However, I was blessed enough to have an opportunity given to me, one in which I didn't have to search extensively or try to uncover. One day I met with my school's CollegeBound specialist, Mr. Anthony Harold, who conducted a brief interview with me and my mom. During that interview, I told him about my life story and my future ambitions, and he was convinced that I would be a great candidate for this honor. And later, when I found out that I was this year's CollegeBound Scholar of the Year, I was ecstatic. But from my experiences and winning this honor, I know that my potential is endless and that I can truly achieve great things because of my obstacles that I've overcome, my family, and also the compassion of others like the CollegeBound Foundation, whose goal is to help make a dream of college a reality for students like me. And I would like to also thank CollegeBound Foundation once more, Fox 45, travelers, and everyone who has made this opportunity possible. Hope you all enjoy the rest of the event and enjoy your lunch.
One day, many of us will look back on this day and say, I knew that man. I knew that man back when. We're expecting great things of you, sir, so good luck to you as you enjoy your next journeys in your life. CollegeBound has been around as year before for about 25 years, and we've had many alumni, advocates, and supporters that really made this possible. We would like to extend a special thank you and welcome to the 25th anniversary honorees. And that will be the Baltimoreans United in Leadership Development, or BUILD, the Greater Baltimore Committee, and the Office of the Mayor of Baltimore City. 25 years ago, this dedicated village made sure that they created opportunities that would transform the lives of the students that we all believe in. Joyce Kroll, CollegeBound's first executive director, followed by Craig Spillman in 1999, helped shape CollegeBound into the organization it is today, changing the impossible to impossible. I would like to invite Sam Woodside, CollegeBound's chair, to join me as we present the honorees with the 25th anniversary plaque.
Thank you, Jimmy. Afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the CollegeBound Board of Directors, I would like to also extend my congratulations to all the new scholars and my best wishes to all of our alumni and families that are participating in this event. We've had a wonderful organization for 25 years, and we hope it will continue to prosper going forward. Serving as the chairman of a nonprofit board is equal parts passion and perseverance. If you're lucky, your hopes become entwined with the organization, and that's why I've actually been on the board of directors of this organization for over 20 years, as I know a number of the other directors in the room have as well. CollegeBound has a strong and dedicated board. Now I'd like to ask the board members that are in attendance today to stand and be recognized. CollegeBound is also fortunate to have dedicated college advisors in our high schools, strong leadership, and a committed administrative staff whose primary concern is always the great kids we work with. This year we're celebrating a milestone, 25 years of transforming young lives through college access. In 1988, community leaders were presented with the challenge of developing an educated workforce to meet the increasing demand for skilled labor in the Baltimore marketplace. The challenge attracted visionaries who worked tirelessly to identify resources and individuals who shared a vision for a stronger Baltimore City community. We are pleased to continue the legacy of the founders whose vision 25 years ago made it possible for many young men and women to realize their dream of attending college. This is our opportunity to recognize and say thank you to three of the organizations who helped to shape the mission, the reach, and the capacity of the CollegeBound Foundation. I would like to invite Carol Reckling, a CollegeBound board member and dedicated Build volunteer, to come up to present the first award. And I would add that Carol has served on this board. We debated from either 1990 or 1991.
Thank you, Sam. When we talk about visionaries, we are talking about a diverse group of individuals dedicated to making our city a better place for all Baltimoreans to live and to thrive in. In 1988, Build, a powerful coalition of congregations throughout Baltimore City, urged business and community leaders to join this effort to increase the promise of a brighter future for our children. Build led the way into the communities, establishing the trusted relationships for CollegeBound in the community. 25 years later, that trust is the foundation for the success of CollegeBound Foundation in Baltimore. On behalf of the CollegeBound scholars and alumni, I would like to present this plaque to Bishop Douglas Miles, who is a leader and a former co-chair of Build.
As a longstanding CollegeBound partner, Constellation Energy has had a seat on the CollegeBound Foundation board since George McGowan served as the first chairman of the CollegeBound Foundation in 1989. We are pleased that Deb Emerson, Vice President of Wholesale Trading with Constellation Energy, is with us today to present the next award.
Hello. In 1987, then chairman of the Greater Baltimore Committee, Henry Rosenberg Jr., issued a clarion call to action for corporations and businesses here in Baltimore to take the lead in sparking a renaissance in city schools that would rival the revitalization of Baltimore's downtown. A year later, his successor, Rand Mason, would rededicate the GBC to the CollegeBound promise that money would not be a barrier to college for qualified Baltimore City graduates. As a result, the Greater Baltimore Committee announced that what was believed to be the biggest community endowment drive of its kind in the nation at that time. On behalf of the CollegeBound Foundation, we would like to present this plaque to the Greater Baltimore Committee. Accepting the award for the Greater Baltimore Committee is Jay Hutchins, Vice President of Policy Development and Government Relations.
We are especially honored to have a CollegeBound board member and alumnus, Councilman Brandon Scott, here today to present our next award. Brandon?
Good afternoon. We're going to try that one more time. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm like Patrice, you're supposed to be celebrating today. Jeez. In 1987, Kirk Swope ran for mayor of Baltimore on an education platform. After his election in 1988, he lent his voice to encourage support for CollegeBound, saying, "This foundation offers real hope that far more qualified city students can attend college. I am confident that our students will respond and that we will increase the pool of Baltimore's CollegeBound students." Mayor Rawlings-Blake, herself a graduate of Western High School in Baltimore, has continued to support this foundation and make education a priority of her administration. I am honored to present this award to my friend, my mentor, and my big sister, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Good afternoon, everyone. Councilman Scott, it is certainly an honor for me to be here with you and to have you present the CollegeBound Award. It means something special that it's coming from a CollegeBound alum. I want to acknowledge and thank several supporters of CollegeBound. I see our former school board chair, Neil Duke, is here. Dr. Michael Scott, the alumni and the speaker for the day. I also want to thank and acknowledge, even though I believe he's not here, Dr. Spillman for all of his hard work, and welcome aboard Jimmy Tadlock, the interim director of CollegeBound. I think on this next frontier, the work that we're doing around education has to include more of the work that CollegeBound is doing. We have done a good job increasing the enrollment in our public school, decreasing the number of young people that are dropping out of school, increasing the number of students that have graduated from school. But on that next frontier that I think all of us are called upon to challenge ourselves to make improvements are making sure that our students not only enter college, but complete college, and that they are prepared to provide a livelihood for themselves and potentially their future families. There is a lot of work to do. We have made progress getting more of our young people into school, but we cannot pat ourselves on the back and count it a success until our young people are graduating from school. So for all of you who are here that are supporters of CollegeBound, I thank you. I look forward to partnering with you, with the councilmen, as we make sure that our young people in Baltimore have more than just a head start to college, but a head start on life by completion. Again, thank you for the honor today, and I look forward to our continued partnership. Thank you again.
Thank you again to the mayor. She has been here over the past several years each time we have this event, so we thank her for her continued support as well. It is my privilege now to introduce our alumni speaker, Dr. Michael Smith. Michael is a graduate of City College High School, Howard University. You can cheer for City College, I heard that. City College High School, Howard University. That's okay. We're going to keep on moving. Accidents happen. Howard University and the Ohio College of Podiatric Medicine. Dr. Smith is on staff at the new South Baltimore Center for Kaiser Permanente, and if you have a chance, please read his full bio that's in the book. Very impressed with all that he has going on. But right now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Michael Smith.
Good afternoon. I am honored to speak in front of a collection of such future professionals. I can say that not in my wildest daydreams did I ever envision myself back here in the setting of the CollegeBound Foundation's Scholars Luncheon, speaking in this capacity. We're here to honor you and your collective support systems, be it mothers and fathers, family members and loved ones, which have made this moment and those like it possible. I'd like to acknowledge the core of my support system, my family, including my mother and father, Darlene and Michael Smith, and my beautiful wife, Malika. I'd like to take one more moment to give a special acknowledgement to my father because it's his birthday, so I appreciate you coming out. Happy birthday, Dad. Without you all, I wouldn't be the person you see here today. So thank you, and I love you guys. I must admit, this is by far the largest group that I've ever had the pleasure of speaking in front of. I'm a podiatrist, a foot doc by trade. I do surgery as well. So I'm used to seeing patients without their shoes on. So if everybody in the room would just kindly take your shoes off, I might be a little more relaxed or comfortable. Shout out to Amy for that joke. She told me beforehand. There you go. Table 35. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. When I was initially asked to speak today, I was excited to lend my voice to the many success stories co-authored with help from the CollegeBound Foundation. With each passing day in anticipation for today's luncheon, that excitement turned into a bit of anxiety. The inevitable question becomes, what do you talk about? Finally, as I began to jot notes in preparation for today, I let my imagination run free just a bit, as I'm often known to do. In imagining what this day would be like, it came to me. I want to present to you that every scholar in this audience already has one of the most important tools to achieve whatever it is you desire in life. This tool has the ability to power you towards whatever goals you set for yourself and will allow you to write your own chapter in this book of life. I'm a firm believer that everybody has a story. That's evident by the Scholar of the Year, Daquan. It's hard to get a city man to congratulate a poly graduate. That's good work, young man, good work. There are tons of external factors that ultimately help write your story. I mentioned the core of my support system, but in actuality, the sum of all the people, places, and things that have contributed to the person you see before you cannot be measured. That's because no matter how small or large, how good or bad, right or wrong, the sum total of every person, place, or thing in part shapes us into whatever we eventually become. I submit to you that simply being present at this very moment in time and in this space, celebrating accomplishments for your hard work and dedication, you already have exercised one of the most valuable tools, again, to be successful in life. I think it's a pretty bold statement, personally. At this very moment, already have one of the tools to propel yourself in life. Let's do this. We'll give a small pop quiz. Don't worry, it's no right or wrong answer, just a slight show of hands. Show of hands from the scholars who believe they consider that what I believe is one of the top tools, that you already possess one of these to succeed in life. Any hands? You already possess the tool to succeed? Okay, fair amount. How many of you have ever dreamed of what you wanted to do when you grow up? Show of hands. There we go. We get a little bit more, all right? How many of you have ever dreamed, or rather envisioned yourself going to college, going to school after high school? You otherwise wouldn't be here by design, right? And it's the last question, the latter show of hands, that proves the point. At some point in your lives, you all envision yourself headed to school, headed to college. Sure, the specifics may differ from person to person, situation to situation, but now you're already on the cusp of doing just that. You thought about which institution would best fit your needs post-high school. Those dreams and daydreams, those thoughts led you to apply to the institutions of higher learning. The not so secret is that it's all here. If you continue to simply allow yourself to imagine your position in life, you will have no choice but to become that person you imagine you'd be. It's all about the image you create in your own mind, which serves as the common denominator throughout your life. Never stop dreaming of that person you are destined to become. I know my wife has heard me say it repeatedly. I like to say a statement I say, I hope you don't think I'm crazy, but I can see the future, I just can't predict it. I always derive pleasure from daydreaming about my future. My future then became our future. Now it's our children's future that helps and propels me today. That's actually a big part of what setting goals are about. Some call this future thinking. The reality is that this way of thinking has helped get you to this point, and it will propel you beyond this day. Getting lost in a world of future thinking based on the mental pictures you'll paint. These are pictures of what your place in tomorrow's world will look like. That way of thinking alone is what will push you to the very place you imagine. Now let's be real. My words aren't meant to be dismissive of the actual efforts it takes to execute such ideas, going from a simple thought to a plan of action to full-fledged reality. Basically, you could have imagined all you wanted to about finishing high school and what your next step in life would have been. But if you didn't actually fill out the application for college, then you aren't executing that plan. Your daydreams remain just that, a thought. But the actual execution is another story for another day. Simply imagining your place in this world, to me, is a huge chunk of the process. No matter where you are in life, wake up daydreaming or dreaming of the person you desire yourself to be. I like to point out that high school, college, and the likes, I like to say those things are not that hard. I know I get a little crazy stare. It's not hard. It's life which makes those things more difficult. In high school, it may be jumping from the middle school to high school, puberty, peer pressure, home life, socioeconomic status, support system, or lack thereof sometimes, that often help dictate your failure or success in academic settings. Once in college, it's peer pressure, burgeoning adulthood, finances, self-policing, or lack thereof. There's nobody going to tell you to get up at that 8 o'clock class when that alarm clock goes off. That's the next step in the process, so just be careful with that. Grasping that concept makes the statement a little more palatable. Make up your mind now to succeed, much like you've already done, just to make it this far. Keep hold of the image of what you want to be when you grow up. Now, this may change over the course of life, often dictated again by other circumstances, but the facts are the facts. I was drawn to an inspirational quote. We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. How powerful is that a statement I believe to be true? At some point today, once your day quiets down and the celebration is winding down, I'd like you to spend at least 5 minutes thinking about your future, your life in the context of your future. Just imagine, let your imaginations propel your thoughts to get a glimpse of what your future will look like, feel like, and be like. Focus on that future, your thoughts of your role as a leader in your community, what life is like for you after college, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, and beyond. Next, never forget those thoughts. Reflect time to time on these thoughts. So when life throws its curveballs your way, you don't let those curveballs deter you from your future thinking, from your future self, and executing your action plan to become the person you are destined to be. It's funny because your imagination carries you places, to your predestined place. It will also serve as a vehicle bringing you to places you actually never thought you'd be. That's the position I find myself in at this very moment. Who knows? Someone in the audience may be here in the capacity of the 50th annual Scholars Luncheon speaking about their experience with the CollegeBound Foundation. With all my talk of future thinking and continuing to use your imagination, again, I never imagined myself here speaking in front of you. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank you for having me, and I wish you much success in your future endeavors. Thank you all. Enjoy your day while imagining your future. Thank you.
Dr. Smith, thank you for your kind remarks, but I guess your better half suggested you come back. Listen, as we were preparing for our 25th anniversary, looking through our archives, we found something we thought Dr. Smith would appreciate. So here's a picture of him as a young scholar when he was at Howard University, and we hope you will find a nice place to remind you of what you went through.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Neil Duke. Mr. Duke is an attorney with Ober Collar, and we're fortunate to have had him as a member of the Baltimore School Board Commissioners as its most recent chair, as well as a member of CollegeBound's Board of Directors. In June of this year, he was appointed to the Maryland Public Broadcasting Commission. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Neil Duke.
If I could make this a point of personal privilege to extend another round of applause for Dr. Smith and his lovely family. You know, you're a hard act to follow, sir. But it's important to have someone like Dr. Smith here so that our scholars can see the physical manifestation of what is possible, and also recognize that the photographs that you take today can and will be used against you in future years. I'd also like to take a moment for us to all offer a round of applause to all the parents who are here in the room as well. Look, I remember those days back in high school and the transition from high school to college. And I remember the look of relief on my parents' faces. And for parents who are in the audience, recognize that this isn't the end of the journey, certainly not the financial end of the journey. There's still a lot more work to get accomplished, but you're well on the way to success. So I congratulate you as parents, as guardians, as mentors, as the adults in the lives of these young scholars, because without your efforts, without them knowing that you had their back, they would not have had the confidence to achieve this moment in time. So to our parents and all the adults in the room, job well done, but there's still more work to do. Now, it's really my pleasure and an extreme honor that I was selected to give remarks at what is the 25th anniversary of CollegeBound. And I'd be the first to admit that when the opportunity first presented itself, I was initially pretty hesitant. We had a little back and forth on the telephone with me hemming and hawing and saying, really? Do you guys really want me? Don't you want someone important? I don't really consider myself a keynote-worthy speaker or anything that I would have to say to be valued as key. But I kind of overcame my initial reservations and hesitations, knowing that if nothing else, I could speak to the audience from my heart regarding this occasion, which is the celebration of the fantastic young people in this room. And just as importantly, because today provides me an opportunity to publicly thank CollegeBound for everything that it does. It's oft said that the task of educating our youth and seeing to it that each and every one of our scholars fulfills their destiny and rises to his or her full potential takes a community effort. We've all heard of the mantra of it takes a village. 25 years and counting. CollegeBound has more than done its share in what is undoubtedly the most important mission within this city, which is to promote our students towards excellence. Millions of dollars, I repeat, millions of dollars invested in the effort. Countless hours spent with students in the capacity of advising, mentoring, challenging, whatever it takes. Over 13,000 students serviced in just this past year alone, and over 125 private donor corporate scholarships awarded. So to the board of CollegeBound, as well as to the many community partners, Fox 45, Bill and Patrice, you guys are incredible, you're awesome, you're always there. One of my favorite events of each year is the aquarium event that CollegeBound does, and you all are always a both humorous and informative presence at that event. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you've done. And to all of our community partners, again, you're all part of the fabric of what's made CollegeBound such a success over the last 25 years. May we see, as Dr. Smith aptly notes, another 25 years of success for CollegeBound and its scholars. And now some words, a few words for the students assembled this afternoon. First, goes without saying, all of you are incredible. Incredible for your obvious academic talent, and incredible for defying whatever odds of failure that could have sidetracked you, but instead sticking to a path that will lead to your ultimate success. The transition from high school to college is challenging. For some, it represents the very first opportunity to leave the friendly confines of your homes, your neighborhoods, your immediate circle of friends, to grow and develop into an entirely new person, that person that we all like to collectively refer to as a responsible adult. In a real sense, each of you is about to engage on a very remarkable journey that will transform your life. Know that you will be challenged and face challenges along the way, but that's part of life. To quote a Chinese philosopher, Lao Tzu, who lived and died some 5 centuries before the birth of Christ, and some of you may have heard of this quote before, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Today's luncheon recognizes that first single step that you're about to take. That said, I'll offer a few thoughts about why that first step that you're about to take is so important. 2 points. First, the world that awaits you beyond these doors and beyond the boundaries of your homes, our city, and our state is a very different place than the world that your parents and your elders faced. Much like the adults in the room, in this particular room, saw and faced an opportunity to rewrite history and shape the world by their toil, their sweat, and their effort, you will have the same exact opportunity. Each of you represents the next wave of leadership. What you make of the world, this world, and perhaps more importantly, how you go about addressing the many challenges that are awaiting you on the horizon will be guided by your values, your creativity, and your imagination. Each of you will dictate how the new world will work and how the world will address its most difficult challenges, from global warming to resolving the tensions that exist in our far-flung borders across the planet. And my, how times have changed. Perhaps for our scholars and our younger folks in the audience, give some thought to that as you're downloading the Magna Carta. For the adults, that's Jay-Z. They might not know. Or as you're downloading any of the numerous apps that seemingly pop up like weeds, thousands a week on your mobile devices. Think about how the world has changed just in the brief amount of time since 8th grade. Technology increases rapidly, and so do the lives of the countless that depend on that technology. Now, the adults in this room, they'll proudly boast that when they headed off to college, they had this fancy little device called an electric typewriter. Some of the elders in this room probably remember, like myself, taking typing classes in high school. Typing classes. A keyboard, a device that you actually have to push for the paper and how many adults remember pushing that thing and it wouldn't go and you'd have to get the whiteout. Young people. There was once a time before autocorrect that there was something called this is a little bit of an education, I apologize, but you had to dip it into the ink and then wait for it to dry and then go back to your paper. Scary stuff. Now, these are just the people of perhaps my generation. If you have the benefit of speaking to grandparents, those of that generation, those who might be closer to retirement age, they'll boast of having to have written in readable cursive for their term papers. No devices, they have to write their stuff. Barbaric. And if you're truly, truly blessed to sit down and listen to the folks who were born a generation earlier than your grandparents, well, they'll tell you tales of killing wild animals with pointed sticks, writing on cave walls, and all before going to study hall, and they have to do all that stuff. So when you reflect on how the world has changed and how you may impact on the broader changes within your own lifetime, my scholars, be mindful of the generation that will come behind you as well. Each of our generations are tasked with not only being responsible for our own generation, but reaching back to the older generation to ensure that they're taken care of, but leaving something behind for the new generation as well. And that will be your task as well as it was our task as well. There will be folks coming behind you, whether they're your siblings or the folks you just don't know about who are about to make their way into the world. Frankly, when I see date of births and I see someone born in the 1990s, I think to myself, that's crazy. I can't be that old. Each of you will be leaving your own legacy behind. And I'm going to leave you with this one truism, and this is very much true. Young people, you're going to resist this at first, and you're going to take offense. I'm sorry. But the older you get, the more like your parents you become. And people used to share that with me, and I'd say, there's no way I'd turn it. I run around the house turning off appliances and lights much more efficiently than my father ever did. Get off my lawn, that's going to be my mantra that I take to heart. You will become your parents. And that's not really a motivational observation. That's just the truth. All right, the second observation I'm going to share with our scholars is this. And here's the setup. And this is where I become a little bit inclined to step on my soapbox and perhaps get a little bit deeper in the conversation. While I was listening to a radio show a few weeks back, the host was promoting a contest for his listeners. And he, maybe accidentally, maybe inadvertently, maybe on purpose, he said one of the most profound things, and I immediately thought to myself, wow, that was really pretty deep. Now, the remark that caught my attention was this. He remarked that life isn't about things. Life is about moments. And he said this in the context of his experiences as a kid growing up in the Pacific Northwest and going camping with his dad, who had since passed away. And how every time he smelled campfire, his thoughts would automatically drift to memories of his father. And how life wasn't about what his father had bought for him, or his successes, or what he was driving, or the size of his house, or the clique that he ran with. It was all about creating moments, memories that will last forever. And I thought to myself, wow, that's pretty deep. For a sports jock, that's pretty deep. To our scholars, that first step that each of you is taking on this journey of 1,000 miles toward college, each of you will forever remember as your own personal moment in time. My own moment came in the summer of 1980. No sense in dating myself, right? It's 1980 something. Let's just leave it at that. It was a hot, sweltering August evening in Charleston, South Carolina. And for those of you who have visited Charleston in August, you know what I'm talking about. The heat that we experience here the last week or so, that's the norm. And they'd probably call us wimps for complaining about it. My parents had just driven, or as I thought at the time, they had chauffeured me from New Jersey to Charleston, South Carolina. My dad wanted to personally drive me there to make sure I got there on campus and that there was no stepping back. Here's a brief sidebar. I hadn't intended to go to a military college. I wanted to go and party. I was like every other student. I knew that if I was going to get out from under the thumb of my parents, I needed to go someplace where I could express myself. Wasn't that Salt and Pepper? To our young folks, there was once a rap group named Salt. And speak with me afterward, I'll clarify. So we pulled up. My father at the time had this custom van, before custom vans were creepy. You know, the type with the refrigerator and the bed and the captain's seat. And, you know, I'm sitting in the captain's seat and my mom and dad are up front and my brothers are like stuck on the sofa in the back as I'm kicking them and everything. And they pull up to the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina, back in the day when it was an all-male school where slight forms of hazing were acceptable practice. And they dropped me off because, again, my father wanted to make sure I didn't back out from our deal, which was, okay, I won't go to Boston University, which is where my heart was because I heard it was a good partying town. I'll go to this place called the Citadel down in Charleston. They'll recognize that I have no military bearing. They'll promptly kick me out. Well, my dad wanted to make sure that that didn't happen. So we pull up, my moment again. He drops me off, me and my few belongings at the front of the barracks that I was assigned to, and the next thing I smelled was the burning of rubber of my dad in his custom van bolting off of campus. To this day, and we're speaking about life is about moments. I remember the heat. I remember the sweat that dripped down my neck and my back, the smells of the barracks. There's something called, well, some folks might know, the Skin So Soft product. Folks back then in Charleston lathered themselves in Skin So Soft. For our younger folks, it's an Avon product, and supposedly Avon, oh, forget it. You might not know. I know this stuff is all available on Amazon.com. You guys, back at one point, you actually had people who came to your, never mind. Okay. But we used to lather that on ourselves because it supposedly had this magical propensity for stopping sand fleas from gnawing on your skin. And to this day, whenever it's been a long time, but if I were to smell that, it would bring me immediately back to my moment in time, my first night on the campus of the Citadel. We also had something called brass off or something like that we had to shine our belt buckles with. It was very barbaric at the Citadel back then. And I swear, if I ever smell it again, I'll either be caught by a wave of nostalgia or nausea. I'm not sure which. But I remember those moments. But what really struck me at the time was I remember that was the moment for me that everything changed. Life as I knew it, the shift from being a child to being an adult, the shift from being entirely dependent on my parents who had just bolted, to realizing that they were dependent on me. And a little known story I didn't know at the time, my mom is the sympathetic, caring, nurturing one, and my dad was the former military police officer at the time, gung-ho type. As he was peeling off, or before he peeled off, I didn't know at the time, my mother had convinced him that she should walk around the other side of the barracks to peer one last time at her baby as he was being hauled off by the upperclassmen to be hazed. And she was trying to convince me. She said, Ned, let's take him back. Had I known that, I probably would have, evaded a couple of tackles and run back out there to Mom. But my dad said, no, he's got to stay. And that was the end of the story. That's a sidebar, but this is my therapy. Scholars, each of you are going to experience it in your own way, if you already haven't. And know that when you come upon your moment, no one's going to be able to take that from you. Now marks the time for each of you to take that next step forward, to transform your lives by evolving into someone entirely and completely new. What you do and who you will become is entirely up to you. You will be responsible for writing the new chapters of your story. Carpe diem, seize the moment, seize the day. I'm going to leave you with one final thought in the form of a quote. And I like this one. This one just struck me as appropriate. Every accomplishment starts with a decision to try. Every accomplishment starts with a decision to try. Now to our scholars, are you ready? I hope and I have every confidence that each of you are up for the challenge. And with that said, I want to salute all of our students, our scholars, our parents, our community stakeholders, CollegeBound for all the great things that it does. And I really like to thank you for being my therapist for the afternoon and allowing me this opportunity to address the 25th anniversary of our luncheon. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mavis Jackson, and I'm the Program Director of the CollegeBound Foundation. I wanted to share some things about CollegeBound with you. This year we had over 22 CollegeBound specialists in over 20 high schools in Baltimore City. And I would like for them to come up so you can see all the work that they've done. So this year, our specialists delivered over 1,247 college access presentations to over 8,442 students. They conducted 13,570 one-on-one advising sessions to over 4,543 students. They hosted fall and spring fairs, which enabled 7,216 students to talk to over 52 college and university representatives. Okay. At this time, if I could have Ms. Debbie Gibson, coordinator for the Office of School Counseling for Baltimore City Schools, to come on stage to join me in some presentation of advocacy awards. Oh, very good. Each year, CollegeBound recognizes a high school principal and a school counselor who have distinguished themselves as advocates for students who aspire to pursue a college education. These two professionals have also proven to be extraordinary partners who have worked hand in hand with CollegeBound to ensure that access to college is an opportunity for every student at their schools. So, according to this principle, an effective administrator is visible. Students, staff, and parents need to see the administrator in the classrooms, in the halls, at lunch, at extracurricular activities. If this is accomplished, the administrator will know his or her constituents are aware of what's taking place in the building and send a message to all that he or she is concerned. This administrator understands that for her students, the cost of not getting a college education is much greater than the cost of getting one. So she and her team have worked very hard every day to make certain that they level the playing field as much as they can. So please join us as we congratulate Ms. Rhonda Drayton, New Era Academy, as our CollegeBound Principal of the Year. She's in a bit of a shock because this is a surprise to her. Over the past 6 years, this counselor has juggled a myriad of student-related tasks that she makes seem routine, from attendance, discipline, drug and alcohol abuse, sexuality and pregnancy and personal crises, along with credit checks, college entrance exam testing, and writing letters of recommendation. If you were to speak to her students, they'll tell you their counselor was part mentor, part parent, part motivator, and confidant. This counselor has earned the respect and admiration of her fellow coworkers, as evidenced by the remarks of a fellow counselor. When you work with this counselor, you know you have to bring your A game. She is no nonsense, no excuses, and all about helping students. CollegeBound would like to thank our 2013 Counselor of the Year, Ms. Ebony Myers-White from Carver Vocational Technical High School. Accepting this on her behalf is Mr. Kurt Sykes.
White. I'll gladly accept this on her behalf. She actually had classes she couldn't get away from, but this is very important to her, and we had to surprise her, so she'll be very pleased with this.
Thank you. So, our next advocacy award. In college admissions, representatives go far and wide to find the best students for their institution. Nothing pumps up a high school student more than having a college rep relentlessly trying to recruit them as a hot prospect. Students and their parents attending Baltimore City Public School have an advocate and friend who is a relentless recruiter, not only for their host university, but for higher education in general. A friend who uses every opportunity to wrap a caring arm around one of our students and address the importance of a post-secondary education, the ins and outs of the college admissions process, the students' values, interests, and abilities, and how they play into their college selection, their college admissions test scores, and if needed, a kick in the pants to get them started and motivated to rise to their potential, the importance of career planning, selecting college majors, what it will take to pay for costs associated, and the college choice, the importance of college visits, what should be gotten out of them, and the resources available to students in the Baltimore community. Baltimore City was fortunate to have a friend in admissions at a university just a few hours down the road who's willing to participate in every high school-based event or community-based workshop for students and parents related to college access. A friend who ensured the red carpet was rolled out for every individual or group of Baltimore City students visiting their campus. A friend who told it like it is to students, parents, counselors, fellow admissions reps, but offers a hand of support. A friend who was a product of Baltimore City, moved away, but whose heart never left. a friend who joined us every year to celebrate the accomplishments of Baltimore's college-bound students, regardless of the college they may attend. This friend, Bernard Winder of Frostburg State University, passed away this June and was CollegeBound's first college rep of the year in 2002. Moving forward, CollegeBound will annually recognize an outstanding college representative of the year by presenting this award in his honor. For the last 5 years, this year's Bernard Winder College Representative of the Year awardee worked at her alma mater to recruit some of the brightest minds throughout the state of Maryland and surrounding states. As a first-generation high school student, she did not realize that attending a university was even an option for her. However, through the support and encouragement of her mother, an uncertainty became a reality. For this very reason, she works diligently to support the students in Baltimore City schools. She truly understands the apprehensions, concerns, and uncertainty that many of our first-generation students face in this process. In the spring, she shared her college access story with a group of juniors at one of our high schools, and as the students left the presentation, one student remarked, "I really can go to college." This year's awardee has gone above and beyond to ensure that students from Baltimore City Public Schools find a home across the Bay Bridge at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Please help us to congratulate our 2013 Bernard Winder College Representative of the Year, Ms. Charlotte Parsons of the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. All right, if I could have Mr. Tadlock come to the stage.
Thank you. As we prepare to close and send you on to enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, we'd like to take a moment to thank Patrice for what she does to come out every year to serve as an MC. So if you would, come on stage, please.